happening, and they go like this.
Breaking news at PH Williams Airbnb. Now's the time to take advantage of the PH Williams massive sweet 16% discount.
To build upstairs, yes! Let me go and call my husband.
With an extension, a driveway, a new study, a shed, renovated garage, no problem. We know the expenses of building materials in Dominica.
No need blocks, no need sab.
Money in your back pocket, money in your wallet, money back in your budget. Only at PH Williams Sweet 16. Pay now and collect by November 30th. This massive sale ends March 6th.
PH Williams with Sweet 16 in.
We're making it Sweet 16 sweeter than ever. This massive sale ends March 6th. Pay now and collect by November 30th.
Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headlines.
In the headlines, the government of Dominica expresses deep concern over tensions in the Middle East. In news from the region, CDB targets US $65.2 billion in financing by 2033. And internationally, US Senate to vote on US President Donald Trump's war powers as Iran conflict continues. Good evening, I am Leila Langford. Details of the news when I return.
Flow makes your next phone upgrade easy. Add postpaid to your internet plan and score a Samsung Galaxy for as low as $33 a month. It's the smartest way to an interest-free premium phone upgrade. Don't let anything stand between you and that new phone feeling. Step into your upgrade with confidence. Visit us in store and sign up today. We keep your rhythm flowing. Terms and conditions apply.
DBS News.
Welcome back. The government of Dominica has expressed a deep concern over the escalation tensions in the Middle East, particularly recent developments that have increased insecurity across the wider Gulf region. In a statement from the Prime Minister's office, Dominica underscores the urgent need for calm, restraint, and responsible leadership. The government firmly believes that even the most serious disputes must be addressed through dialogue, diplomacy, and full respect for international law. The government is particularly concerned by actions which threaten the sovereignty and security of countries in the Gulf region, place civilian lives at risk, and further destabilize an already fragile region. With any widening of the conflict, the government stated that it will only deepen uncertainty, intensify suffering, and diminish the prospects for peace. The government of Dominica therefore calls on all parties to exercise restraint, to refrain from further actions which may inflame tensions, and to recommit to peaceful engagement. The government added that the protection of civilians, respect for territorial integrity, and the preservation of regional stability must remain paramount. The government of Dominica applauds the leadership, restraint, and maturity demonstrated by the governments of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Bahrain. Additionally, the statement noted that Dominica supports all genuine international and regional efforts aimed at de-escalation, humanitarian relief, and the achievement of a just and lasting peace. The government extends its thoughts to all those affected by this crisis and emphasizes that this is a time for wisdom, statesmanship, and a renewed commitment to peace. The government of the region and the wider international community deserves a future categorized by stability, dialogue, and hope. In other news this evening, Boyo artist Kenny G and Mayor Ermin Roye are among the candidates nominated for the Roseau City Council elections on March 23rd. Nomination day for the elections was held on Tuesday.
The city of Roseau was bubbling with excitement yesterday, March 3rd, for the Roseau City Council nomination day in preparation for the council general elections. The candidates nominated are as follows: Ward 1, Lenny John Baptist, Moesha Anel Joseph, Kashma Richards, Samantha Robinson, and Ermin Roye. Candidates for Ward 2, Batilia Bethel, Jason John Baptist, Kenny John Baptist, Paloma Mack, Dunstan Peters, Kelvin Rule, and Rhoda St. John. Candidates for Ward 3, Quincy D. Angle, Michael A. Morrow, and Christina Sobers. And finally, candidates for Ward 4, Colleen Ivinia Beaupierre, Sherman H. Boston, and Lucy Bell Matthew. Election day is scheduled for Monday, March 23rd, 2026. And so we are encouraging all registered voters in the municipality of Roseau to cast their ballots for the candidates of their choice. Remember, you can only vote for 2 candidates at each ward. Again, you can only vote for 2 candidates at each of the wards. And of course, let's all play our part in ensuring that Roseau becomes a model, not only for Dominica, but for the Caribbean in general.
Local Government Commissioner Glenroy Toussaint. Chief Electoral Officer Anthea Joseph has announced that plans are set for the official start of voter registration on Monday. Voter registration in Dominica has been paused due to issues with technological readiness. However, it will now resume at confirmation centers across the island.
As previously announced, the Electoral Office will officially commence registration, that is voter registration, on Monday, March 9th. That is next Monday. Registration will take place at the confirmation offices established in every constituency. And as we know, some of the constituencies, they have more than one confirmation center. The process will be conducted by the Assistant Registering Officer, who will be formally appointed and assigned to each center to ensure the smooth and efficient handling of all the applications. Eligibility requirements. For a Dominican citizen, you must be 18 years of age or older, must have resided in the polling district for at least 3 months prior to registration. For a Commonwealth citizen, however, must be 18 years of age or older, must have resided in Dominica for at least 1 year prior to registration, must have lived in the polling district for at least 3 months prior to registration.
Chief Electoral Officer Anthea Joseph. Joseph says the Electoral Office is in the process of amending relevant legislations in regard to the required documents needed for confirmation and voter registration.
So in addition to the requirements mentioned for registration, a person will be able to use also a Dominica issued birth certificate and a photograph authenticating the identity of the applicant signed by a Justice of the Peace, Commissioner of Oaths, or Notary Public, and an affidavit of identity in the form set out in the third schedule, sworn by a Justice of Peace, Commissioner of Oaths, or Notary Public. So these amendments are being made at present, and persons going in for confirmation or applying for confirmation and registration can now utilize this new requirements, which is a photograph, which is signed or authenticated by Justice of Peace, Commissioner of Oaths, or Notary Public, in addition to Schedule 3, an affidavit of identity, and a birth certificate. We want to let the entire public know that confirmation continues at the Confirmation Center, and now registration will begin from March 9th at the Confirmation Centers as well.
Chief Elections Officer Anthea Joseph. Minister for National Security Reuben Blackmore has announced a cash incentive of not less than $500 for the 30 fire officers who were on duty as fire raged through a commercial area in Roseau in the early hours of Monday morning. At least 5 business places were damaged in the fire, including the upstairs of Jolly's Pharmacy. Blackmore made the announcement while presenting 2 fire trucks to the fire and ambulance department. He said the prompt and efficient work of fire officers prevented further damage in the area.
I salute the fire officers. I saw 3 women equally active and equally efficient and competent as the men, and for that, I'm endlessly pleased. The men and women had to brave the element, and they were professional, they were quick on their feet, and what I saw gives me greater appreciation and admiration for their service to country. In that regard, although I'm aware that you took the decision on your own, without inducement and force, to declare that you're committed to serving the government of this country and the people of this country by way of being a fire officer. But I believe when people have demonstrated that level of bravery and commitment to the people of this country, we have to give them some incentive beyond the salary that they're getting. And for the 30 officers who were present and involved, the fire officers, in curtailing, managing, and then extinguishing this fire, every one of you will be getting a cash incentive, and it will not be less than $500. The Prime Minister has given his approval because this government is about recognizing people for their hard work and commitment to country.
Minister for National Security Reuben Blackmore. Meantime, Fire Chief Wayne Later says these new trucks are equipped with modern technologies that will enhance the operations of the fire and ambulance service.
They are different from what we have existing in Dominica. If you look at what we have in Roseau, for example, these trucks are far more sophisticated. These trucks are better equipped, and these trucks are multifunction, as we said, to provide everything that the fire officer needs. They carry a water capacity of 400 imperial gallons, an interesting tool called the Jaws of Life. But in the fire service, we say that the Jaws of Life is just one piece of equipment. But what these are equipped is what we call jaws. And jaws meaning equipment which can open and close. So we have quarter, we have spreaders, and a third component of that equipment is what we call the ram or the hydraulic jack. These vehicles are equipped with those also. And to my heart content, ladders. So both trucks are equipped with, one is equipped with what we call a Lacon ladder, a 45-foot ladder, or 4-story building ladder, and the next one is equipped with a 35-foot extension ladder, a 3-floor ladder. These trucks are also included with a ventilation fan. These trucks are equipped with what we call a come-along. Those trucks are good for when we go to a motor vehicle crash accident. If you lift a vehicle, you can place it under it and keep it up in case you have to do some extrication from under. So I would say that these trucks are well equipped for our service in Dominica.
Fire Chief Wayne Later. Parliamentary Representative for Portsmouth, Fenella Wenham Shepherd, has welcomed a fire truck for the Portsmouth area. The trucks for Portsmouth and Roseau were presented to the Fire and Ambulance Department by Minister for National Security Reuben Blackmore. Mrs. Shepherd says the fire truck will enhance services in the north.
I have been inclined, to ensure that in Portsmouth, fire and ambulance is top-notch, first class, and always have the best. And so the various station officers would have seen me come through a number of times, not just in my capacity as parliamentary representative, but of course I must do that. And so they would have seen me, so I would have met with people like Mrs. Raymond, Mr. Defoe, who's here, and some others. What I was saying is that I'm very pleased that it has more use. So now it's a fire tender. Portsmouth is really pleased to have it, and not just Portsmouth, but the northern space by extension. It's a very large area geographically and also in terms of navigation. I look at the trucks and they seem to look like they can navigate a bit more freely on the roads, let us hope. I'm also hoping that the engine capacity is strong and that it can withstand the terrain that we have as well. So it really pleases me that we have these new tenders to take care of our fire service. I want to also include that they're essential in that space because of the development that is going on there.
Parliamentary Representative for Portsmouth, Finella Wenham Shepherd. That's the national focus, regional and international developments. Up next.
Flow makes your next phone upgrade easy. Add postpaid to your internet plan and score a Samsung Galaxy for as low as $33 a month. It's the smartest way to an interest-free premium phone upgrade. Don't let anything stand between you and that new phone feeling. Step into your upgrade with confidence. Visit us in store and sign up today. We keep your rhythm flowing. Terms and conditions apply.
DBS News.
In news from the region, President of the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, Daniel Best, says that the bank is making major progress in securing new funding as the Caribbean needs at least US $65.2 billion in financing by 2033 to prevent stagnation. The CDB will launch a Euro medium-term note program, enabling the bank to raise up to US $1 billion over 3 years to lower the cost of capital and unlock the private investment the Caribbean region needs to grow. Best announced this while detailing the approval of a new 10-year CDB strategic plan for regional development, one focused on building social, economic, and environmental resilience. And internationally, the U.S. Senate is set to vote on a war power resolution aimed at limiting U.S. President Donald Trump's ability to order further military action in Iran. The measure would require the withdrawal of U.S. forces from the conflict unless Congress approves the operation. Democrats argue that Trump sidelined Congress and has offered shifting reasons for the war. Most Republicans say they must and will block the resolution, but may change their stance if the war expands. The vote comes 5 days after the U.S. and Israel began striking Iran. That's news, the DBS Evening Sports Report. Up next with Gavin Richards.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Well, good evening. I'm Gavin Richards with the DBS Evening Sports Report. Let's bowl off with cricket news as Finn Allen hit the fastest T20 World Cup century as New Zealand powered their way into the finals of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup beating South Africa in the first semi-final today. But South Africa entered the match unbeaten, but they picked the wrong day for a poor performance with the bat as they were eliminated yet again at another major global event. South Africa batting first was 77 for 5 before recovering to get 169 for 8 in their 20 overs. Marco Jansen led the lower order rally, getting 55 from 30 balls, and Dewell Brevis 34. Rashin Ravindra, he picked up a 2 for 29 for New Zealand. Well, after that, it was all about the Finn Allen show as the Kiwis raced to the victory total.
Fastest T20 in the World Cup ever for the man. Finn Allen in 100. Oh, you betcha. He's in a hurry for sure. And helps the Black Caps get into the final. They win by 9 wickets. Simply destructive. Yeah, you've got to be on your feet here at Eden Gardens for this. 100 NO with a strike rate of 303.03.
Well, Finn Allen smashed 100 not out of 33 balls. Tim Seifert added 58. South Africa made 173 for 1 in 12.5 overs to win by 9 wickets. Here now is the South African captain, or that should be the New Zealand captain, Mitchell Santner.
Yeah, it was nice. I think, we knew obviously how good South Africa are, and they've shown that throughout the tournament. So, to put on a performance like that in a crunch game is obviously pretty pleasing.
Talk to me about planning. You play them before and they dominate you in that game. What is it you felt you had to do as a group coming into this one to ensure that you reverse that result as you've done?
Yeah, I guess every time you get shown up or you lose a game, you're learning from it. I guess you learn when you win as well. So we knew we weren't, on or as good as we could have been during that game, and they played, unbelievably well, especially on a wicket like that. So, I guess today it was, trying to keep them under pressure for a long time. We obviously threw a little bit more spin at the start, which we didn't do in a Metabad. But I think, if you can take wickets throughout, it's obviously a challenge to, keep going with the bat.
And that's the New Zealand captain, Mitchell Santner. Well, let's hear now from the South African captain, Aiden Markram, because it was South Africa yet collapsing again under pressure on the global stage.
Yeah, we'll reflect as a group. Obviously disappointed with the result, but very proud of this group of guys who played some really good cricket throughout this comp, and just an unfortunate evening, really.
So many nearlies, so many tough situations from an emotional perspective, I'm sure, within your change room as well as you go back. What is it you can say to your group, having kind of gone so well and then stumbled again at this hurdle?
Yeah, I think you let the emotions settle first and foremost. Once they have, we'll have a discussion as a group, and all you do is you break down the game and try to find the areas that we could have been better, and you get back on the horse and you try and improve as a group and as individuals, and hopefully that puts you in good stead for the future. So, again, hugely disappointed. It's big, not slap in the face, but it feels like it. But because of that, ultimately we'll have to come out stronger and be better as a team moving forward.
And that's the South African captain, Aiden Markram. Well, the World Cup semi-finals will continue tomorrow with England taking on India. That game gets underway at 9:30 in the morning, but it's New Zealand into the finals. Let's stay with cricket news because the West Indies women's head coach Shane Dates says while the results were not encouraging against Sri Lanka, there were 1 or 2 positives to take from the series. Well, the West Indies lost both the ODI and T20 series to Sri Lanka. The coach says that the performances overall were poor.
Very disappointing. We didn't play very good cricket, so that's it. So there's not a lot of things to be pleased about. I think probably the takeaways have been a couple of fringe players stepping up. Glasgow played 2 great innings in the ODIs. She's starting to establish herself as an international cricketer, so it was great to see. Claxton's also stepping up as an international cricketer in T20. She's got a lot of versatility and a big future, so it was good to see her get some time in the middle. But we're looking at those youngsters to get a lot better and develop their games. So not a lot to be pleased about. And I think it's been 8 months since our last played our games, so we look very rusty as a unit. our combinations weren't working. We just looked like we hadn't played for a while, which is obviously the case. But now we've got some cricket before the World Cup, so it's perfect for us now.
West Indies women's head coach Shane Dates, he says there are some areas the team will need to work on before the next series with Australia. The ladies will play Australia in a white ball series starting on the 19th of March.
Yeah, we just got to get consistency better. Every time we put the pressure on the opposition with battle ball, we let it go by throwing a wicket away or bowling a bat over a bad ball. It just released that pressure. Every time we got on top of the game, we just surrendered the positive position we were in. So we've got to get a bit more ruthless and a bit more. Once we get in front, don't let the opposition back and keep our foot on the gas for longer. And that's probably an area we're going to work on in getting those wins and developing that winning mentality in the middle a bit more. So that's important.
West Indies women's head coach Shane Dates. President of the Dominican Netball Association, Colita Hamilton, is hoping that Dominica will be able to participate in the America qualifiers. The tournament is scheduled for October. Hamilton says Dominica's participation at the regional tournaments are important as Dominica needs the points to improve on their rankings.
We do have some events in netball. We have, there will be no ECCB tournament this year. That is because there will be the America's qualifiers. This will be taking place from the 13th to the 23rd of October. We have the Battle of the Saints, which will be happening 27th of October to sometime first week in November. And so these tournaments are very important because they are ranking tournaments. And ranking is very important for netball playing countries. It determines what tournaments you get invited to, although we do have a long way to go, but it is always good to participate in these tournaments, if not to really win, but to expose the younger generation to that type of play.
All right, so we'll be participating in the qualifiers come October?
That is yet to be seen because the original bidders, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they are unable to host. And so America's Netball reached out to Barbados to inquire whether they would be able to host, and we have not yet gotten word on that. So America's Netball on a hold, we are waiting for confirmation of that.
President of the Dominican Netball Association, Colita Hamilton. President of the 767 Sports Club, Dunstan Maggie Peters, has issued a call for Dominica's increased participation in regional basketball events. Peters says the regional tournaments will not only help with Dominica's basketball development, but provide an opportunity for players to be scouted overseas. Peters recently led the 767 Sports Club to a second-place finish at the St. Lucia Basketball Invitational.
Well, that is exactly what it is. It's like I keep doing. Before I used to be saying when this needs to be done, this needs to be done. But now I'm not saying anymore. It's action. I'm showing it that it can be done. So let's do it. And I mean, so I'm hoping that the DBA can, like this year, we need to have a national team. We definitely need to have a national team this year. We are not taking no excuses, nothing. We have to have one. At different categories at that. We need a youth one, we need a female, and we need seniors. It has to happen. It has been shown that it can be done. Let's do it. St. Lucia right there, Guadeloupe, Martinique. If it is, if the expense is the ferry is $400 a ticket. You know what I mean? So let's make it happen.
President of the 767 Sports Club, Dunstan Maggie Peters. Head coach of the Do It Center, Mighty Avengers, Kareem Regis, says his club plans on coming out strong as they challenge Valvoline United in the quarterfinals of the DFA's Champions Cup this evening. Well, the two sides will meet in just about 30 minutes' time at the DFA Technical Center. Regis says this will be a stern test for the newly promoted team.
A lot of people will think that's our biggest game, but I mean, I like to let the players know that our biggest game is the next game that we play, and we treat every game with a level of seriousness and importance. As you may know, and the wider public may know, I was engaged with the U20 national team. We just got back from tour, but that doesn't mean the team wasn't training. I've been in contact with the coaching staff and the assistant coach Joshua Hillier and the coaching team, guys like Daniel Serafin and the club president, Mr. Naya Winston, are doing a really good job getting the boys prepared. And, we're going to get ready for that game. Come put a good showing for ourselves. It'll be a good test for us to see ourselves against some premier opposition, as we will be in the Premier League for this upcoming season. And, the guys just going to come out and put a good account of themselves, put on a good show. As I told them that the Dominican public eyes are on them, and they need to do better. They need to step up. And I'll be there with the team. I'll be there with the team on Wednesday, just to provide that expertise and that level of experience there with the guys. But the coaching staff have been doing a really good job. So, my hat, kudos to Joshua Hillier and Daniel Serafin and the team leaders, friends like Jaron Mayers as well, the team captain, for really holding down the fort whilst I was away. And, we're going to give it our best attempt on Wednesday.
Head coach of the Do It Center Mighty Avengers team, Kareem Regis. Meantime, Valvoline United coach Lennon Banis says his team, they're ready for the matchup.
Even though it has been a while since we've seen some football action, I think that our players have the basics. They know what it takes and what's required of them. And we see that as an opportunity and a privilege to take part in the cup. We go in there not underestimating any team, but just to go there and give our all, have fun, and get back in the mix of things, get some well-needed game time under our belt, and go all out this again.
Coach of the Valvoline United football team.
Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
DBS Radio gives you top quality service over any other for live streaming of funerals. Call us today at 448-3282.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. It is the 4th day of March 2026. We begin with this evening's edition of the DBS Radio Deaf Announcements on the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. We announce the death of Samuel Stevens, age 62, of Marigot. He died on Monday, the 16th of February, at his residence. He was the father of two sons, Kendall Stevens and Samuel Jr. Stevens. He will also be remembered by his sisters, Sybil Robinson, Gracelyn Alfred, Nelda Joseph and Lynn Stevens. His brothers were Sonny Stevens, Robertson Stevens, Henry Stevens and Jonathan Stevens. Sister-in-law Minetta Stevens. Brother-in-law Randolph Robinson. 15 nieces, 12 nephews, special family and friends near and far, names too numerous to mention, including the Boland family, Hamlet family, Sylvester family and Salima Robin. The body of the late Samuel Stevens of Marigot can be viewed from 1:30 p.m. on Friday, the 6th of March, at the Zion Methodist Church in Marigot. The funeral service begins at 2 p.m. and will be followed